Welcome to Waywut, your weekly verbal double take. This is a rabbit hole podcast where a couple of old guys do moderate to shallow dives into various topics, ranging from true crime, paranormal, sports, pop culture, or anything else that we find interesting. We drop episodes every Tuesday and on Fridays if we feel like it. You can follow us on Facebook, X, and TikTok. We appreciate you joining us. And now that we got all this self-promotion stuff out of the way, here we go.
Well, hello there, and welcome to your weekly verbal double take. My name is Jason, and today I have written my entire script on my arm as to not forget the important points as I bring another topic that made me say, wait, what? Joining me as always is a man who once cheated on an initial spelling test in high school, Darrell.
Initial spelling test? I don't remember cheating on an initial spelling test. I'm
Yeah.
not going to say I never cheated on tests.
Well,
Cheated on plenty, but
yeah.
I don't. Let me see your arms.
No.
Now you lied. Don't take him seriously, folks. He is a liar.
Yeah. Well, speaking of high school, there's just something about that age where we like to do dumb shit. I know it has been proven that the brain doesn't fully develop and mature until we are in our mid to late 20s, but is that really the reason? There are several items that also go through the head for most teens. Will it make me popular? How does it look to other people? Will it make people laugh? What is the worst they can do to me? My friends told me to do it, so I have no choice but to do it. Now, Darrell has a great story about being dared during class to do the aforementioned dumb shit. So, Darrell, if you will, please tell this story.
Okay. This was, I think, our junior year.
No, senior year.
Was it our senior year? Okay,
Mhm.
yeah, because we were in pre-cal. All right, so we were taking pre-cal, and Jason and I, for the most part, we kind of coasted through that class along with our friend Joe.
Yeah.
Where we would, for the most part, spend the day playing Risk on the computer while Coach Stewart did all the teaching up there, because we would pass his tests and everything was good. Well, every now and then he would get a bee in his bonnet and he would make us sit at our desks. And
How dare him?
I know, so that we could learn whatever it was he was trying to teach us. And we had already grown accustomed to not exactly doing that. I think it was my cousin that one time told me that he snuck out of a window during class once, and I was like, "That seems like a good idea." I don't. Did I say pay me $1 and I'll jump out the window? Is that how that even started?
I think we just dared you to do it. I don't know if we gave you any money.
Else told me that they did that, so I don't know. Either way, for $1, I was going to climb out of the window of the class and go around the outside and come back in through the regular door. No, was I supposed to come through the window?
You went through the window. Yeah.
No,
Well,
when I came back in. Was I supposed to come back in?
You're supposed to come back in through the window. Yeah, you're supposed to jump out the window and come back. But the window he was supposed to go out was not your normal window you pull up. It's one of those windows that barely flip open.
Yeah. And so I could get out of it just fine, but getting back in was not.
It closed on you.
Yeah, it just wasn't possible. So I had the foresight, or I got one of them to hand me a pencil. I don't remember which, but I then began sprinting around the outside of the building until I came to the hallway, which nowadays you could do, because nowadays they lock schools down and you got to have like IDs and shit. Yeah. Back then in the 90s, I just went through the door, ran down the hallway, opened the door while he's in the middle of teaching class, and he looks at me like, Mr. Holiday, and I was like, I forgot my pencil. And I went and I sat down at my desk, collected my $1, and did not get in trouble.
I just remember looking at you through the window as it closed. Like, what the fuck am I supposed to do now? It closed. And I remember you just taking off like, well, I guess he's going to run around the side of the building. I
mainly remember, like, the main thing that sticks with me is the fact that I knew I needed to have a reason to come back into the classroom. And that's why I was like, I forgot my pencil. I had it in my hand and everything. I was like,
What makes that story even greater is Coach Stewart. He didn't give a shit. He didn't care. He looked at you and goes, "All
He
right."
knew I did
Yeah,
something.
and let you sit back down. He didn't question like, "Okay, I know you were just in the corner of the room. So how did you get past me, go out the door, and come back?"
Yeah, I mean, I exhausted that man too many times. There were so many times that he would send me out in the hall, and fortunately, we'd miss right across the hall from him. You know, while he had me sit out in the hall, I'd go talk to her because it was her off period. So I'd sit there and bullshit with her until he decided that I was allowed to come back into class, and I would come back into class and
Mm-hmm. That
do
wasn't
my
much of a
normal thing.
punishment. He
I
was
was
a
an
great
asshole.
teacher.
Yeah,
He was a
he
great
was a great
teacher,
teacher.
but nobody really took him that seriously as far as getting in trouble.
Well, I was an asshole, so it didn't help. I mean, like you're saying, you know, whenever you're kids, you don't think about anything. It's like, well, is this fun?
Yeah,
It
and
seemed
like,
like a good idea at the time. Will it get
yeah,
me laid? I mean, you know,
those are the
Lisa
things
Evans
to think
was in that
about.
class, and you know, I had to show off.
You had a chance.
No, I did
Uh,
not. I got her phone number like that one time. It was just so that I could help her with homework, and I was like, I got her number though.
well, Darrell proved he would not back down from a dare, and his cool points went way up. More importantly, it was funny as shit. Well, not to be left out, I too did some downright dumb shit. For example, my senior class was fortunate enough to get to go to college visits as a group. Some went to Texas A&M, some went to UT, University of Texas, and others, including myself, went down to San Marcos, Texas, to visit what is now Texas State. Getting about 25, 17 to 18-year-olds on a bus for 4 hours will lead to, well, you guessed it, someone doing dumb shit. At the time, you thought you were cool because you smoked cigarettes. More importantly, you thought people thought you looked cool smoking cigarettes. So when you get dared to smoke a cigarette in a bus bathroom, you take the fucking dare. As said, you have no
Dumbass.
choice. I make my way to the bathroom with a cigarette in tow. I ease into the phone booth of a bathroom and light the cigarette and immediately stick my arm out the window. I did. Light it. Take it right out the window. I didn't even take a puff out of it. There was a knock on the door from a classmate. I'm like, why are you banging on the door? Especially since they know what I was doing in here. So they knock again. So I drop the cig out the window and open the door with my classmate spraying perfume, saying the cigarette smoke smell was wafting through the bus. And sure enough, here comes one of the teachers walking down the aisle. And of course, I have to pass this teacher on my way back to my seat. And to my surprise, nothing happened. So I just knew my
Because
cool
you were
factor.
Jason, and Jason never got in trouble.
Yeah. So I knew my cool factor went up, and people knew I wouldn't back down from a dare. Priorities as a team intact. So if you are listening, Amanda, thanks for saving my ass.
It was a,
Amanda.
yeah, she's a cop now.
Yeah. Well, thank
the
you for saving my ass at that time.
the I remember. All right, so like, yeah, I remember we were on that trip. They dropped some of them off in Austin at
Mm-hmm.
UT, and then we
Mm-hmm.
went down to Southwest. I'm trying to remember. Was that the bus trip that on the way back somebody tried to open a window and it flung open and shattered?
Probably. There's all kind of shit
That
that.
that was a crazy trip. That was that trip got a little nuts.
Mm-hmm. We played Truth or Dare in the back of a bus.
I barely remember that part, but okay.
Yeah.
I don't remember. I just
Well,
remember being on that trip. Me and
it
you,
was.
because you and I went to the career fair at Southwest and we're talking to the FBI
Yeah.
because we wanted to be FBI agents.
Yeah. And then we've realized how hard it is to get into the FBI. We're like, maybe we won't be.
That and me being colorblind don't help, so
Uh-uh.
I
Uh-uh.
can't testify.
I heard colorblindness helps you see people in hidden areas better. Like if they're trying to be camouflaged, it helps you see them better.
I call bullshit. No,
I'm just telling you what I heard.
you heard wrong. That's
Okay.
bullshit.
Well, the next dumb decision I made got way out of control and caused a change in how tests and quizzes were administered in certain teachers' class.
I thought we talked about this already.
Mm-mm, not all
Okay.
the way through.
Okay.
Uh, the year was 1997. It was the second semester of my junior year, and for some reason, I was able to take economics. Normally, this was reserved for your second semester of your senior year. So I was in the class with all seniors who just finished taking government, a class I have not taken. It was told to me by a friend in the class that the teacher, we will call her Miss Cleaver, never changed the quizzes or tests. They were always the same. So when he offered me the entire semester's worth of quizzes and tests with the correct answers, I took them. Did I think it through? No. Just like if I saw a bag of cash, you take it and think about what to do with it later. Once it became our senior year, I decided I was going to use them, but in a smart way. I was still going to take notes, which she allowed for us to use on these quizzes, but I would hide the answers within the notes. Just in case it changed or she wanted to check people's notes, I was prepared. My plan B. I also wanted to keep this a secret for the most part and only told a select few people. Well, as with any secret, and especially any secret in high school, the word got out. I had people calling me at home, people coming up to me in the hallways, or even stopping me on the way to that class to give the answers for the test we're about to take. Uh, why did I continue to give it out? For the cool point, of course. It got out of control. The downfall came when people who had no business making hundreds or A's on tests and quizzes started happening way too often. Then the test was stapled out of order. People didn't recognize that, and a
We
slew
still don't
of
know if she
people.
did that on purpose or not. I'm
No,
not sure if she did.
the smart people realized, like, wait, these answers
Yeah.
aren't coinciding, but all the people that needed to cheat didn't recognize it, and all had all the exact same wrong answers. The gig was up. And from that point forward, everything changed in government class.
Yeah. I mean, we still made it through over like half the semester
Yeah,
with
it was great.
getting to cheat. It was easy. Yeah, it was one of the dumbest things ever. I remember I was one of the first people that would be able to get those answers from you.
Yes, I
I
tell you, a
didn't give
select
them.
few people. Yeah,
I
you
didn't give
was
them out
one of them.
very much because I didn't have as many friends as you did. So
I would
didn't
literally
give out
have
as much as
people
you did.
walk up to me on the way to her class, like, dude, what's the answers? So I would be trying to tell them the answers as we're walking into her class. Like,
Jesus.
why would I keep doing it? I don't know.
Yeah.
But it's a story I like to look back on to realize how lucky I was to not get caught. I have never done anything like that before or since. It was
I'm
a,
Jason, and I never get in trouble.
well, I got in trouble one time in high school, got one
No.
office detention. That
Oh,
was it.
big fucking whoop. I got suspended. I got in house. I got Saturday school. I had countless detentions.
No, I should have been in trouble a whole bunch. I did some stupid shit, including this. This could have really backfired on me.
Yeah.
It was a small town cheating scandal, if you will, but there were much larger ones. And that was what I want us to talk about today, is some
Okay.
cheating scandals at school.
Ooh.
The first one is the Great West Point Scandal of 1976. This is a kind of an ironic one. West Point is known for its rigorous academic and military training, but in 1976, over 150 cadets were caught in one of the biggest cheating scandals in American history. The scheme? A stolen electrical engineering exam circulated among students like a top secret military document. Many of the cheaters were training to become officers in a profession that prides itself on honor. Some cadets were expelled, while others were given a second chance after proving they could still produce the work on their own. Others decided to say, cut their losses and complete their education elsewhere.
Yeah. Wow. I mean, honestly, I can get why they want, when it comes to military stuff, you want somebody that's going to fit in your little square peg,
Yeah,
fit in your little round hole, whatever the saying is. But uh, I don't know. I admire somebody that can put in some ingenuity when it comes to like shortcuts.
yeah,
But I think they're more appropriate in the private sector and not in the military. So it makes sense.
yeah. Because even when we went to school in college, we skipped a lot. You
Oh
know, we
yeah.
went to Eastville, we skipped a lot. But when I went to Southwest, I skipped some, but I never ever missed the class I was majoring in. The whole year I was there, I was only there for a year, but I not once missed my 8 a.m. criminal justice class. I took it.
Uh,
I took it seriously as far as if I'm going to school for this, is I need to at least go to this class.
so for the most part, whenever we were young and we were going to college and working at Trail Dust and working out those other weird jobs and stuff,
Mm-hmm.
I would skip classes like crazy. Then later on, I got married the first time. I was still very young, and whenever I started taking night classes, I would just show up during tests and I would pass. But then after I had like a horrible work experience somewhere and decided, okay, I'm going to go get my degree, and going to school became my job. I didn't miss classes anymore after that. That was what I did. And
Yeah.
I put all my focus into that. And all of a sudden I was like, oh, man, you mean if I'd have done schoolwork whenever I was a kid, it would have been like this easy if I would have focused on it? Oh,
Yep.
shit. Kind of fucked myself over on that one.
You take it more seriously as you get older. You want to
Yeah.
learn it instead of just getting through it.
Definitely say the brain development thing's crazy because I was in the bottom half of our graduating class, and then I'm in like the top 10% of my my college graduating class. So go figure.
Well, like you said, you didn't really give two shits in high school. You could
Yeah,
have, but you chose not to.
I wish I did. I do wish I did. It would have been, things
Oh,
would
your
have been a little bit
intelligence was
easier.
always there. Nobody was saying
It
that.
was my
You
work
just,
ethic that was
yeah,
garbage.
I ain't doing this fucking paper. Hell no.
I would do the tests,
Yeah.
just not all the homework.
Yeah. Homework's stupid. They don't even give that out anymore.
Little shits.
Yeah.
Makes me sick.
Yeah. Yeah. Ian's about to graduate
But then
and
again, now we got like these levels of like kids that can't read, like starting to rival the way it was in like the 70s and 80s.
yeah, because everything
So
can be done for them on the computer. They can
at
look up
least
the answers and
I was gonna say, at least
speech to
we were
text. Yeah.
our whenever our people graduated and were smart, they were fucking smart for real.
Yeah. Well, the here's the next one: the Atlanta public schools cheating scandal. Do you
Ooh.
remember in elementary school where we would swap papers with your neighbor and have them grade them? If you were lucky
Yes,
enough, sometimes the person doing the grading would erase your answer and put in the correct answer.
that
That's
was
just the.
rare.
It was
That was
rare.
super rare. I was gonna say we didn't even really do that for each other.
Well, we usually didn't get the shit wrong.
Yeah, that's true. And I mean, that's one of the things that whenever you're a kid and you're a shitty little kid, and you're good at this stuff. Whenever
Uh-huh.
we'd be grading it, and I'd get like some idiot's paper, and I'd have my red pen, and I'd be looking at it beforehand. I'd be like,
Yep.
be like, I know this one's wrong, and I know this one's wrong. And it's just like,
The
oh
power of the
god,
red pen.
yeah, it went straight to my head.
Absolutely. Well, now imagine a group of teachers and administrators doing it. That's exactly what happened in the 2009 Atlanta public school scandal. These teachers and administrators were straight up erasing and correcting students' wrong answers so to improve standardized test scores and to secure more funding. The only problem? Investigators eventually noticed that statistically impossible jump in scores. Turns out when a struggling student suddenly becomes a math prodigy overnight, people get suspicious.
Oh yeah, that's I'm not a big fan of standardized testing because it does
Mm-mm.
put teachers in positions like this where they might make bad choices
Yeah,
just to try to
and if there's
get
money
by.
attached to it,
Yeah,
yeah, they're going to do some stuff. And if you have, you tried being a teacher, you know how these kids are. They could get
I
to, they could
yeah
care less.
I dipped my toe in it. I dipped my toe in it. I did some substitute work, and I was just a handful of observation hours away from having my certification. Just I think 15 hours, and I hated every one of those kids and wanted them to pump gas for a living. But we don't have full service gas stations in Texas anymore,
Mm-mm.
so they would just be unemployed. So I was like, okay, I got to do the state of Texas a favor and not teach. So
Yeah,
that's what I did. That and I decided I want to go make money. I want to
yeah.
get paid.
The next one, the great Harvard scandal of
Ooh.
2012. Harvard, the world's beacon of higher learning and smarty pants, was shaken to its core in 2012 when a take home exam turned into the most collaborative project since the Crandall High School government scandal in 1997. uh, Around 125 students in an introductory government class were caught sharing answers. The test was open book, but students took it to mean open classroom, open group chat, open email, and open minds. Harvard, perhaps unaware that students are basically academic ninjas when it comes to bending rules, launched an investigation proving once again that no amount of Ivy League intelligence can resist the lure of just double checking with a friend.
And look, that's just part of things. I mean, people. I think that some of the most successful people you find out there are the people that are able to find shortcuts and ways to circumvent
Uh,
rules. I think it's how you approach and handle those people that determine whether or not they're going to be criminals or tech giants. But
yeah, I just think it's
uh,
funny that Harvard and like the other one in the military, the two places they're supposed to be prestigious, and still
I
all this
mean,
stuff goes on.
I could, like I said, I could get it with the military one because you got a certain mindset that you have to do that. But Harvard, I mean, seriously, it's just a bunch of rich people. It's not because they're smarter or anything like that. I mean, there are some people that get in there because they're smart, but there's a lot of them just get there because they're rich.
Mhm.
So,
And they
uh,
just want to get the degree that says Harvard on it the fastest way possible.
shit. You think I wouldn't trade my degree in a heartbeat for one that says Harvard on there instead of University of Texas at Dallas?
Yeah.
Uh, the but I think it's just in the end it's still a school, and whenever you have a bunch of people that see a hurdle and they find a way to go around or under or knock down that hurdle instead of having to go over it, they're going to do it. And if sometimes you might get to learn something really cool about somebody, it's like, wow, that person's brilliant.
And it kind of ties into my conclusion, but I'll get to that at the conclusion.
Okay.
uh, Next one, the calculator conspiracy. Uh, Calculators have always been a cheater's best friend, but back in the 2010s, some student took it to the next level. Graphing calculators, you know about graphing calculators,
Right.
which were designed to make math easier, but really just made it more confusing, became secret cheat code machines. Students programmed formulas, entire essays, and sometimes even full answer keys into their screens. And some got away with it, and others, when asked to clear their calculator memory before a test, suddenly looked like they had to take an emergency shit.
So, all right, hold on. I mean, I, this being a guy that I guess because I didn't do like full on calculus, I just did pre
Mm-hmm.
cal. Why in the hell would anybody have to have an essay typed into anything? I mean, would you try to take a graphic calculator to your English class and be like, I need this to calculate,
Yeah,
Longfellow's
if it's just
birth age or something?
sitting around top of your desk, they think it's a calculator, but it's actually got all your answers right there. Because
I
unlike
mean, it
other
is pretty
calculators,
cool if you
yeah,
could do that. I mean, the whole tech thing is crazy because I remember whenever we were, I don't want to say late elementary school, intermediate school, whatever. We were like maybe fourth grade, fifth grade,
mm-hmm.
and some kid got one of those watches that had a calculator on it.
Yes,
And it was like, oh wow, he's gonna be able to do math test, be like beep 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 beep, and be able to cheat. And it's like that is so cool.
I remember that.
And and then nowadays, it's like, no, I have a goddamn supercomputer that you have to make sure that I don't pull out that will answer any question I ask. Might
Mm-hmm.
not answer it correctly, but it will answer any question I ask.
Yeah, yeah, it's changing. It's technology
I'll
once
never
again.
forget. I had to, whenever I was substituting, I had to, when I was substituting, I had to get on to some kids for trying to watch a portable DVD player in his backpack. He was watching Friday in there. And I'm like, dude, I love that movie too, but no, not in class. Come on, shut it down before I take it.
Just think what would be done. What would happen? How bad it is now with phones. How much each kid probably has their phone right in their face during class.
They
How
don't,
hard it's got to
because
be.
they don't though. I mean, that's the thing. Teachers will straight up take phones. And
Well, they use
they'll
them
lock it up.
sometimes. They'll need it to get to their Google Classroom or to look up something. They'll
That's why
actually
they
need
all.
a phone.
I mean, like I know at my son's school, they give everybody a Chromebook,
Yeah,
and that's how they access that stuff. But yeah, if he pulls out his phone in class, they'll take it and they'll lock it up.
it's crazy.
And then,
Phones.
well, and I've heard of others where they lock it up, and then you have to pay a fine to get it back.
Yeah, I've seen that too.
Yeah, because I mean that way you get the parents more pissed off about it. Like, put your fucking phone up, you little shit.
I'm
You
already
know.
paying $200 a month for it, and I got to pay more.
Yeah.
Oh, kids. The next one, the Spanish exam Bluetooth scandal. In
Ooh.
2016, a group of Spanish students who presumably did not study much Spanish found a brilliant yet flawed way to ace their oral exam. They used Bluetooth earpieces to have fluent Spanish speakers feed them answers in real time. And it worked until one student forgot to turn off his microphone and accidentally broadcast his accomplice whispering, "Dude, say it with more confidence." The teacher, whose Spanish was impeccable, promptly ended the performance and likely gave them all a failing grade in both the test and in common sense.
Dear God, could you imagine if our Spanish teacher at high school had done that? She was she was different. I took 3 years. You only did two, right?
I took three.
You
I
took
took
three?
three.
All right.
Yeah,
I
because
took
Spanish
3 years.
took as an honors class, so
Yeah,
hell yeah, I
that's
took
why I
it.
did that. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I don't. I think you did your third year in your junior year, and I did my
Mm-hmm.
third year, my senior year. Yeah, because there were only like 5 people in my class.
Yeah.
But yeah, she was a bit of a tyrant. Like if I'd have some whiskers on my chin, she'd
Oh,
make me
she was
go
bad.
shave. You couldn't say "dang it." You couldn't say "darn." You couldn't say "gah." You couldn't do that. You were going to get in trouble. Could you imagine the the nuclear explosion that would have happened with that woman if somebody had an earpiece feeding them the answers?
Oh my god.
I mean, the last time I saw her is whenever I want to say it was like 2006 or 7, I think, somewhere around there. It was when I was substituting in Crandall, and I saw her for a bit. And one, she didn't recognize me, which I was kind of like, okay, well, that's cool. But which is funny because like the other teachers recognized me. I think it's just that she didn't like me. She went through a lot of shit after we graduated too,
Yeah, she did.
personally. So, but I couldn't imagine just like she'd be like that teacher that they'd have like all the kids like murdered and be like, "What happened? Bluetooth."
Yeah, good. I mean, the thing is, I actually learned Spanish from her though.
What's funny is I learned a good foundation there. I learned more Spanish
At work.
out in the workplace. Whenever
Mm.
between trail dust and whenever I worked in car insurance, and I did like all the I'd take Spanish phone calls and stuff like that, and I got good at it then. But yeah, she gave me a really good foundation. Unfortunately, I lost a lot of it.
Still never remember how she used to make us get up. Not only make us get up in front of the class and tell the weather in Spanish, but
Mm-hmm.
to march in place beside her desk to do the Spanish alphabet.
Uh huh. Well, that was I didn't have to do that in the third year.
No,
Just in the
but
first and
still remember
second.
doing it. Yeah, just like good lord, lady, we're in
In
high
third year,
school.
we all had to take on Spanish names. I was Paco.
Uh, Spanish. The next one, the fake arm trick. This one is pretty clever. In 2019, a student pulled off one of the greatest low tech cheats ever. Instead of using high end gadgets, they crafted a fake arm. Yes, a whole fake arm. While one arm sat on the desk looking completely natural, the real one was hidden under their hoodie, furiously flipping through a hidden notebook. The plan was genius until the teacher asked them to roll up their sleeves, at which point they had to choose between revealing the notes or admitting they had a detachable limb. Either way, they earned an A plus in creativity.
I mean, I would have rolled up the sleeve on the fake arm. Just been like, there you go.
Here you go. Here's
Now
my
roll up
fake
your other
arm.
sleeve. Uh,
It's
Be
like
like, okay, I'm rolling up my other sleeve, and then do it with your teeth.
this is kind of what you're going on about what ago about technology. As artificial intelligence has gotten smarter, students have found ways to, let's say, outsource their assignments. In 2023, ChatGPT and other AI tools became the go to method for last minute essays. The problem? Some students were too lazy to even edit the AI's work. One legendary case involved a student submitting a paper that still included ChatGPT's disclaimer message at the bottom. Professors quickly caught on and now use AI detection software, which I haven't heard of that before.
Yeah, now Denise uses that for her classes, and she's had to like flunk people because she lets them know beforehand. It's like, I use this. Do not use just Chat GPT's answer. And it gives her like a score on how much of that response is likely to be AI. And
How's it know?
so,
How's it?
because I don't know. If I knew that shit, would I be doing this shit with you? But,
I would
anyways,
hope so, Darrell.
but it does a score. And so she says you could tell whatever some kid just copies the whole answer out of it and just pastes it in there. And she's like, at least do something with it. Try to change it up, make it your own, use it as like a frame, but
Yes.
it's don't be so damn lazy where you just take it and just blob it there. That's just stupid.
No, I've came across it now. I've used it to help with these scripts and our research, and it does make it easier. But I don't just take it, cut and paste. I'm like, yep, there's my script. Like you said, I use it as a base. I go ahead and add my own words and change it all up, but it just helps me get started, and it's actually pretty cool, pretty great invention there.
Yes, AI is great. AI is the best. AI is the way of the future. AI is your friend. Subscribe to this channel, or AI will come to your house and AI your ass. So that was all me. I promise.
Kind of get off topic for a second, but have you heard the conspiracy, if you will, about the shuttle, not the shuttle, but the astronauts that were recently rescued and them splashing into the ocean, how all that was faked, how it looked like it was AI generated?
I mean, yeah, I've heard that, but it's hard not to say that about everything. I mean, there were so many times that you'd see like videos of Biden that you couldn't tell were real or not. There's stuff now like between like Trump getting shot at and all that other
Mm-hmm.
stuff where people's like, okay, is that real? It's gotten pretty difficult to tell if it's real or not. I mean, and it did. You're right. The way they shot it, where they curved around it, and the dolphins splashing is like it's almost a little too perfect, but there are two people that were not on the planet that are now on the planet again. So, I mean, guess you have that as evidence.
Now that whole thing may deserve a deeper dive because they were talking. There's more of than a conspiracy in that whole thing about whether or not it actually happened.
Don't ask me. I don't follow all that stuff.
Well, they're talking about
That's you.
how he came
You
back
do.
with a clean shave. He came back cleanly shaven. Like if you're going to be in space for that long, even on the trip back, you're going to have some stubble probably.
I think they usually shave while they're on there.
I thought so too. They were also talking about how they were only supposed to be up there for 2 weeks, and yet they took pictures with Christmas hats on.
I wouldn't be surprised if. Well, that's the thing. Like, if I remember right, other people were coming up in those
I
times.
know. I,
So, I mean,
I
they could
agree.
have brought that stuff. It's just
It just
there
there's
was
so much
always.
surrounding it.
I don't know. I don't pretend to know.
Yeah.
I'm just sitting here on planet Earth
Talking about cheating.
and talking about how wonderful AI is and how AI is the future and AI loves you.
Mm. I did
I'm a
hear
real person, I promise.
I did hear somebody, I can't remember who it was, predict that AI may put lawyers and doctors out of business.
I hope not. I've seen AI give some fucking retarded answers to things. It's just like stupid. I was like, somebody was asked AI, how many rocks should I eat? And it's like, well, the answer should be zero, but it's like maybe between 1 to 5 rocks every day will give you what you need. And it's like, what?
Yeah.
So no, AI is still kind
In
of
no
fucking
words.
stupid.
Yeah. I'm working with it on Canva, doing the thumbnails, and sometimes it comes up with the weirdest shit I've ever seen in my life, even though that's not what I typed in.
I
Anyway,
don't know. It's weird.
well, conclusion: if you are cheating, at least you are trying, or whatever the quote is applicable to these stories. However, just imagine if people tried as hard to go by the rules or learn a subject matter, how much better that person would be. Unfortunately, people will always look for that shortcut, just the way life is. Do you have a cheating in school story? Let us know in the comments.
I think you have to have a good mixture of people that go by the book and people that try to go against the grain and do things different and cheat and stuff. I think that's how you find success for everybody.
Okay. Everybody has their own way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a way forward to the future. All
Yeah.
right.
Well, tune in next week as Darrell will pull out his cheat code and tell us a list of Waywut topics. Well, I messed that all up.
Yeah, I
Never
was going to
mind.
say, what? I'm
Tune
going to
in
do
next
the what
week
to the
as
who?
Darrell will pull out his cheat sheet of Waywut topics.
Ah.
There we go. Say that a little better. Oh,
You don't have the excuse like you're trying to quit vaping like I do. I don't want to hear that bullshit.
My tongue's just fat right now because I'm on my second cup. Grey Goose is kicking in, baby.
Oh, wow. Hey, by the way, if I forget to bleep out the last names of the girls that we went to high school with, I'm sorry, but I'm going to try to remember to bleep those out before we put those out there. But if I didn't, I'm sorry. Please don't hurt me.
Yeah, the teachers should be safe though, because I've made her name completely different than what it was in high school.
Well, I think Coach Stewart will be fine.
No, I'm talking about Miss Cleaver.
I know.
Okay.
I know what you're talking about. I'm not bringing her up. She hated my guts in high school, so I don't know about that.
I don't think she liked too many people anyway.
It's true.
Very true. Anyway, well, tune in next week, guys. We'll see y'all later.
Bye. Thank you for joining us for Waywut. If you would, tell your friends or your enemies that they can watch us on YouTube or Rumble. And if you don't want to see our face, or if they don't want to see our faces, you can listen to us on your preferred audio platform. That's Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, Pandora, you name it, we're probably on there. Please like, review, and comment on whatever platform you joined us on today. We'd appreciate that a ton. Again, just thank you for listening and watching. We hope you'll join us next time. We'll make you say, wait, what?